All right. Well, welcome everyone. This is the Energizing the JV session, and your lead facilitator will be our National Junior NJR, actually Senior NJR now. Sorry, Luke. Luke Bowen. He resides in the Rocky Mountain. Well, he's from the Rocky Mountain Denver chapter, but I believe are you at school, Luke, right
Yeah,
now?
based in California right now.
So yes, yes. But welcome, and Luke is going to be leading this facilitated panelist session. So we're going to ask that everyone, if you click on your little three dots, you will be able to, is that how you do it? See, now I just need to, let's see. Oop. All right, well, we're just going to continue. Anyway, Luke is going to lead us in energizing your JB. If you have questions as we go through, there'll be a question and answer session at the end. But if you have a question that you have as you're thinking about it and you want to put it in the chat, that is perfectly okay.
All right, yeah, thanks, Laura. So yeah, we're just here. We have three panelists. We'll just be talking a little bit about what we see as the value and importance of the JB, and then how best to support your JB. Again, yeah, my name is Luke. I'm the current NJR, so we're elected every year at NJBM. We serve a two-year term, and we just kind of just oversee the functions of JB USA. There's a couple of national committees that we chair that work on projects to push the JB as a whole forward, and then we correspond with LJRs as well as our other national reps from countries, in particular the Americas. So yeah, I'll let our panelists introduce themselves. Hamida, do you want to get us rolling?
Yeah, hi guys. So I'm Hamida. I'm originally from the Brandywine Valley chapter, and currently I'm an NCLD, which is the National Committee for Leadership Development. So I work directly with the LJRs in my region that I'm given, and I help them develop their chapters, and then I report back to the NJRs. And I also help plan chapter development in March and the National Junior Branch meeting that we just had.
All right, Maya.
Hi, I'm Maya. I'm from the Jacksonville chapter. I was LJR last year, and now I'm on the NCLD with Mina.
Yeah, and then we do have a third panelist, who I just saw her name, but she may have cut out, so hopefully she'll rejoin in a second. But we can get started, and then when she joins, yeah, I'll have her introduce herself as well. So our first, like Laura said, we'll just run through a few questions that we have, and then if anyone has anything that they'd like to ask me or our panelists, we'll have time for Q&A. So first question is, what do you guys see as the purpose of the junior branch?
Okay, so I can start. I think the junior branch is like the foundations of CISV, and I think I would consider us like the ones who become the future leaders and active global citizens.
Yeah, just adding on to that, the JV gets people engaged and can give people the same CISV experience without having to travel over the summer.
I see the JV as great communicators and recruitments for us. They are the heart of your chapters.
Thanks, Jane. Actually, if you want to add stuff like that in the chat, that'd be great. We're just actually talking to the panelists right now.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I didn't realize.
You're fine. Thank you.
No
I
worries.
appreciate you.
Yeah,
I
thank
really
you.
appreciate you.
Yeah, and to me, I think the way I look at is JV is it's kind of more a place to do more actionable, to make the things we're learning, what our JVers and like young youth that are gaining from programs and beyond that can actually apply and take their knowledge and make actionable, or hopefully make actionable impact towards boosting our community involvement. We're learning a lot, and what we kind of want to do and what I value out with the JV is it's an opportunity for these people who care and are passionate to hopefully do something and put them in a leadership role to develop themselves and also hopefully make a community impact at home. So yeah, next we can jump into name one thing a JV must have to succeed.
I would definitely say that the JB needs support from adults to keep going. That the JB board is in high school and they are very capable of running it, but just having that support from the adults is really helpful.
I really agree, and I think specifically in JB, the junior branch having like a really strong board to help them like support the LJR is super important. I've seen a lot of chapters really struggle when all of the responsibilities fall on the LJR because they don't have any other people like helping them out, whether that's adults or other people in the JB.
Yeah, I definitely see that agree with what Hita's saying. I think something we see a lot is that a lot of pressure and kind of like when an LJR takes on the role, they feel that the responsibility of like the entire junior branch kind of falls on their shoulder. But it's really important that we have either adults or other JBers available to help them out, especially in those situations where you have like a struggling smaller junior branch. It's great to kind of like communicate with your LGR that like they have some support, even if there's not a lot of involvement of the other JBers, but just from the adults who are like there to help them out. And something I'd say, just be conscious of is if you have a smaller junior branch, it's a great idea to kind of like assume that the LJR is probably under a lot of pressure, and so or feels that way at least, even if it might not seem like they're doing a lot, because it can be a kind of significant role. And so just being there as a support and making it very clear that you are someone, even if they don't necessarily have an entire junior board, I think can be super helpful. Okay, so what are some hurdles that you have to overcome to keep your junior branch engaged in your guys' experience?
I've seen a lot of troubles with like the board. How do I word this? Like activities get really repetitive and some of them are overall great activities, but when kids get older and then they're doing and participating in the same sorts of activities like stations, simulations, or lifeboat, it makes them hard. It's hard for them to want to come back to activities because they don't feel like they're learning a lot. So I think having a JB board that can help them plan like new and unique activities is super, super important.
Yeah, I agree that sometimes we just get into like, okay, this month we're gonna do this specific activity and it always turns out the exact same way. And also I think that having a diverse group of people that are coming to the activities instead of just the same like 20 people that are coming to the same activities every month, it's important to have a different group of people.
So I think like there is a lot of like it's very cool to see this group of like younger people who are consistently working together and coming to the JV events. But it's also great. I think there is that trend of it's the same people. So a big thing for us is that like the junior branch doesn't have to be a situation where like this is for people who have done programs or traveled, or events are only for like send-offs or like reception coming back parties. It's great to look at it as a kind of opportunity to expand and like invite more people from the community, more younger people of that age, to come in and kind of like, even if they haven't done programs, this is like the reason we have the junior branch. It's just a separate sect of the organization. It's a whole other branch, and it's meant to be something that there aren't barriers in that you must have participated in the program. So it's great to look at it as kind of like you can invite anyone, and these activities hopefully and events should be open and like understandable. It doesn't necessarily have to be from a CISV background to come in and be able to participate, learn something, or take action, which I think is a mistake or something we fall into a lot, because it should be kind of open. So looking at it as not for CISVers to come, but to like open it up to anyone who might be interested, because we found some like great JBers who have just come in because they're interested in the organization and its values, not necessarily because they traveled when they were 11. Oh yeah, sorry. Amelia, do you want to introduce yourself really quick? And then you can add whatever you're feeling.
Hi, I'm Amelia. I'm the LJR of the Smoky Mountain chapter. Sorry, my Zoom got cut off. I don't know why, so I'm on a different device now.
All good. Thanks for joining again.
To answer your question, I agree with what was said about participation. It seems to be one of the biggest problems, especially in my chapter. And because we don't have participation, there's a lot of a lack of planning in a lot of our activities, and usually the planning falls to one person, which is not really good for a board to be collaborating like that. And another hurdle is getting the kids to take ownership and leadership of the events or activities, and also collectively understanding our objective and what we want to accomplish.
Yeah, thanks for adding that. Okay, so yeah, we'll jump to question number 4. What are your favorite type of junior branch activities and why do you like them? Mita, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, I'll start. So I would say my favorite are activities that end with a really strong debrief and where everyone in the activity is engaged. And even if they didn't fully understand the activity, you can participate and fully listen into this discussion. And I think JV has gotten into like a routine of when they get to the end of the debrief, they're like, yeah, you need to educate yourself. And then it kind of ends there. But I think that's also something that JV struggles with is like finding time to really write good debrief questions and making sure everyone knows, oh, we're not just like gonna play a game and then like sit in a circle and you can go on your phone. Like we're really talking so you can actually like learn something while you're here.
Yeah, I agree. Having a good, well thought out activity before really leads to a good debrief. And so just making sure you have each part of the activity planned out that has a purpose and will lead into a good debrief.
Yeah, my favorite JB activities are the creative activities that, like everyone said, leads to a good debrief. They're always my favorite because the kids not only get to run around, be creative, work together, and still learn about the world issues, but in our debrief, we are able to look at the various levels which incorporated CISV philosophies, diversity, equity, composition, rights, and talk about the real world application. And I just love seeing the kids share their personal experiences and worldviews in the debriefs, and I believe it really shows the values of CISV in motion.
Yeah, so something that I'm not sure like if you all are familiar, but we actually have like the organization in general, like from higher up, international, we have activity planning sheets that are super specific in different models to reference when we're planning activities and debriefs. And one of them is Dr. Ga, which is do, reflect, generalize, and apply. And the JB, I think, is great. So yeah, it's really important that we have these well thought out debriefs and have this time for open discussion and educational content and value. But that generalize and apply part of those debriefs and activities, the junior branch is a great way to like exercise the application, and that we can learn in a great way of encouraging your JBs and supporting your JBs in taking activities and making them educational, and then maybe trying to see a way where you can apply that within your community. So something that I really like and something we've been pushing over the last few years is in our service project, having some type of planned activity to for the month before we do our national service project, which is where we encourage every chapter to participate in a similar time span for one service project that fits in with the activity that was planned by the National Service Project Working Group, so that JVers can come have discussions and gain some knowledge, and then they can do a service project related to what we learned about in the past activity or the month before. Something else that me and our current like recently elected junior NGR have been interested in pushing is something that has been applied in chapters, is the idea of having almost a rotating schedule so that activities aren't all the same, because there's a lot of value in these educational discussions, but we also want to be encouraging like active service, and of course we like expect service or social events to be happening to maintain a strong junior branch. So the idea of kind of like thinking about how can we implement like all 3 of those in our junior branch, and encouraging your JREers and supporting them to not just be running these social activities that typically happens in terms of like programs, but having like a good variety of education and service. So whether that's like every month you switch from like social to educational to service, or just have like a certain number of each that you're trying to accomplish each year, is a great idea, because it's definitely, we get in a trend of kind of like doing the similar type of activities, and some chapters are really strong in that educational, some really have a really social and active junior branch, and some are doing great service. But it'd be great if we can get a little more standardization in like the consistency and variety of doing all, because it will also boost your numbers, people who want to have a discussion about a current event, and come and be educated and talk with other people that appeals to some people, but just being in the community and taking action through service with working with like-minded organizations is something that might draw in others who, again, these people don't have to be like seasoned CISVers. It can be just like community members who are interested in the values and share the values of CISV. Yeah, so what is a way, I guess, how can JBers share and learn about other chapters' activities?
So I think this is what Maya was going to mention. I have a really good link I'm going to share with everyone. It's an activity bank, and it has a lot of really well-written activities that your JB can use. And I've looked through all of these, and they're really well thought out. And I know, like, we were just talking about how, like, if your JB isn't very strong, it's hard for you guys to plan like very unique activities, but this really gives you a lot of support. And I would also recommend talking with your region. As an NCLD, I meet with my region about once a month. I meet with all the LJRs, and I'm definitely open to talking about these activities. They should be in the chat for everyone. But anyway,
sorry, Laura, will there be an opportunity to like send stuff out? Is there gonna be like a recap email? Yeah. Okay, so yeah, we'll include all this and make sure it's included there.
okay.
But you can keep going.
You're good. I would say talking with your NCLD if you guys need more support and need help with planning activities. I'm open to talking to the JVers and the adults. So yeah.
Yeah, that was exactly what I was gonna say. I saw that activity bank and it's full of really great activities.
I just wanted to share an example of sharing in the between JB. At National Junior Board Meeting NJBM, I had the chance to talk with a lot of other LJRs, and we shared ideas for activities and ways we plan and a lot more. And I plan on taking some of these ideas and changing them to fit into the Smoky Mountain chapter. And I also think maybe in the future we can make a nationwide sharing platform where we can share things like activities, themes, calendars between JBs across the nation.
Yeah, so like Hamida said, part of our NCLDs, which is our National Committee for Leadership Development's role, is liaison. They liaise with a region. So we have 5, and each of them has like 3 to 6 LGRs that they try to meet with on about a monthly basis. So these LGRs should be seeing each other. I mean, face to face, over Zoom, virtually, of course. But we really want to start encouraging like it's definitely sometimes difficult because like that Zoom interaction isn't as natural as in person, but what you like, not maybe you guys aren't aware, but yeah, those monthly meetings should be happening, and they should your LGRs should have this opportunity to talk with other LGRs and NCLD who's probably been an LGR in the past or been on a board or has experience that can kind of guide. So a good thing to be doing is maybe even checking in with your LGRs every once in a while when you're offering them that support or just checking on how they're doing, kind of like ask maybe how has been that correspondence with those other regions, just kind of encourage them or remind them that like this is a resource they have, because that is something that kind of like there's a lot going on at the chapter level, but we like to have that inner chapter correspondence, and like the best way we can maintain that is having them like be excited and willing to talk about. So even just asking them like, what did you do in your last NCLD meeting, so they can kind of share and start thinking a little bit more about it would be great. Because we really do try to like encourage that like consistent communication between chapters and LGRs, because they all really do have a lot to offer each other, and there's a lot to learn because a lot of JVs function really differently, just in the same way that a lot of chapters in general do. So yeah, just encouraging or asking them like, how's that going, or what's been your regional like how's your region looking is a great way to kind of like engage them in like that side of the JV. Okay, so what is one thing that adults can do to make it easier for a junior branch to succeed?
I think one thing that the Jacksonville chapter does, I'm not sure if any other chapters do this, but the LJRs go on to the adult board meetings every month, and this helps the JB kind of get some stuff that the adult board is doing, and the adults get a sense of what the JB is doing and their plans for the next couple of months. And so this really opens up communication between the two, and the JB can get support from the adults when they need it.
I agree that it's a lot easier to support. We should try to support the adult board should try to support the JB board, but they should not try to control them, and instead collaborate with and share, like she said, with the meetings. And it's a lot easier to scaffold than to start from scratch on both board sides. So.
Yeah, so I think yeah, Amelia touched on the important parts. Is like a lot of these LGRs and board members who are on the junior branch are really excited about having like a leadership position, and they feel like they're willing to put in the work. So like having that trust and faith, which I think generally is done really well in LGRs, is great. But also, yeah, I think just boosting that face-to-face time between adults in the chapter, adult volunteers, and the junior branch volunteers is just a really good idea. There's different ways of influencing this. Like Maya said, some LGRs do sit on or the boards or attend meetings. When I was LGR, it was just that we had our meetings every month in the same spot. So our adult board was upstairs and we were like downstairs having our meeting, and then the LGRs checked in for like 15 minutes to just present on like what we'd been working on, what we'd accomplished at every meeting, so that we were seeing everyone. So just fostering, yeah, that face-to-face time is really important. Make sure it's, I mean, yeah, just to develop the relationship, a comfort, and hopefully like a solid working relationship, because that's what we want to like have. Not necessarily oversight is definitely important, but just having a place where like they are also feeling like they're volunteering and are contributing to the chapter, because that's what they're excited to do. So yeah, I guess, I mean, our next question, well, I mean, do you guys have any other ideas or like any other experience with how you can develop and maintain relationships between the JB and adult boards?
Yeah, in at least in the Smoky Mountain chapter, we have a joint calendar so that the JB and adult board can both plan things on that calendar. And then when like you said, with the upstairs downstairs things, when the adult board had a retreat, our JB board had one, and we were downstairs. And then we met up and we planned our mosaic together, and we did an Energizer. So we were still together, but we had our own meetings, and it was, yeah.
Yeah, so do you guys have any experience with like having joint activities between adults and the junior branch? And do you think that's an important part in maintaining that relationship?
My chapter has done a couple joint activities, and I've always really liked them. I think especially with new parents and with newer kids, it like gets parents to understand like what CISV does, and even the adult board, they get to understand like all that the JB does every month when we do an educational activity, and how like self-sufficient we are. And no, I do think it is really important to have joint activities every once in a while.
Yeah, like the Jacksonville chapter normally has joint activities. Actually, next month I think is going to be a joint activity, which I think is really great for the adults to see like all of the JB's work come into an actual activity and see the end result, and see like all of the work that they've been putting in, and see how like Hamida was saying, like how we can be self-sufficient and run an activity by ourselves.
Yeah, I think oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, you can go.
Yeah, so I think having that, yeah, I mean, a lot of the RJBers have been working really hard. They've been trained. We do every year, we have a chapter development as well for the junior branch, and we do our NJBM, where we're running training and activities to prepare these LGRs and junior branch members to kind of like be ready to plan activities and run events. And so I think I definitely encourage like sitting in and participating, even if it's just like in debriefs. I think you would be really impressed sometimes on what these people develop and what our junior board branch members can come up with, because some of those activities really can be impactful. Like they've experienced themselves. So kind of like seeing and sitting in and participating is a great way to kind of see like, okay, this is what we're getting out of the junior branch. Like this is what attendees and like participants can come and like experience is a great way to see not just like a report from an LJR, but seeing firsthand like, okay, this is what they've been working on is a super cool opportunity. And I think definitely it's fun. Like like activities can be fun, but really engaging and educational. And it's great to have like, I mean, that variety in just background and like, I mean, we try to foster in our groups like discussion. So having people from different places and having some variety, like having an adult perspective is great. And maybe it can be great to also kind of like see those junior branch and like younger kids' perspectives. Some of my favorite debriefs are ones we've done where it's 11-year-olds all the way through like 18-year-olds who are all talking about the same topics and have really different things to add. So I think that can only be expanded on by having like adult involvement and adult participation. But yeah, so those are our questions that we wanted to go through. So now, if anyone has any questions that they want to drop in the chat or just share, now's the time.
Am I the only one other than Laura? Oh, here.
I think, yeah.
Am I?
So no, so there's a few.
No,
I think
there's a whole bunch of people here. Yeah.
Just the hidden participants.
I have a question. Our JBers are really low and we're really trying to get this expanded because we've sent like 4 camps last year for being a small chapter, but we can't seem to keep them in. You guys gave me great ideas. My JB advisor could not make it today, so I'm kind of in her place. But you said you had training for your LJRs. What is that?
So in the past, so in a few years back, pre-pandemic, we would have 2 in-person events every year, national events. In the spring, we would encourage it to be the JLJR, so the incoming LJR, to attend a chapter development where we're running through things like activity building, activity planning, event planning, like working with like-minded organizations. And I mean, Hamida can share a few more of like the activities we worked on at NJBM, but it's essentially preparing them to take on a leadership role and feel comfortable corresponding with the adults, running activities, managing a board, and delegating. So it's just kind of trying to build that confidence and those skills that we think are necessary for them to like succeed as an LJR. So those happen so chapter development is in the spring and then NJBM is in the fall. We just had ours last weekend.
Ours couldn't make it due to junior college something or other they had to do. So
which can definitely happen, but that's why we have had the opportunities to do chapter development virtually the last couple of years to encourage, I mean, with other constraints, but also it's a great way to encourage like involvement for people who might not be able to make an in-person event. But Hamida, do you want to talk about a little bit more about like what activities we ran last weekend?
Yeah, so we did a lot of talking about what issues we see in JB, and then we would do like a lot of discussions on how to like work on that. And it was really great seeing other LJRs, kind of what Amelia mentioned, like other LJRs working with each other that weekend and like bouncing ideas off of each other. We talked about what it means to be active global citizens and how that starts locally. And then we did some other recruitment stuff. We talked about activity planning, and you said that your LJR couldn't make it. I would recommend that they talk to their NCLD because they have all these resources that we shared at NJBM, and they would be able to get those to help.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Nobody else? I have a question. Okay, I have a question. The educational activities. I guess I have these questions because our JB advisor, she's asked me and others on the board, she has never been trained. Is there a way for her to be trained so that maybe we know where to find these educational activities or ideas?
Yeah, absolutely. So we actually have a national junior branch advisor, so an NJBAD for like all of JB USA, who is happy to work with kind of like more of the logistical side of what a JB advisor's role is. We'll share that and yeah, our like recap. We'll share all like that contact information, as well as anyone can reach out for junior branch stuff. The NJRs, which is my position, and I have a co-NJR, are great resources. We like are happy to connect with anyone to kind of like clarify what we see as the role, answer any questions either by like email or set up a time to talk. But we do have these people who are like more experienced with the junior branch and who have seen a lot and like been involved with a few chapters who are available. So which is another thing, yeah, we definitely want to yeah, enunciate, is that we have people like beyond the LJRs, there are other people, your NCLD liaisons, the NJRs and our NJ BAT are great people who yeah, can just help out. So please feel free, like anyone can reach out to us if you have concerns about JV or just questions. We are njrs@us.cisv.org, but we'll include that. So yeah, like please just send them to reach out and we hopefully will be able to help out.
Thank you again.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Any other questions?
Yeah, hi, it's Nicole. Luke, I had a question just to let people know where they can find their the information like for the NCLDs, so that as chapter support, we can make sure that our LJRs are able to meet or know how to connect. I don't know if there's a directory or a way to access that, or that you can provide with your, follow-up.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for asking. Yeah, we do have a JB directory, and we'll include all the national positions in the, I think, like, yeah, the CISV USA directory. We're working on finalizing that and getting as many LJRs in there as possible, but we can share right away, yeah, the NJR's contact information and the contact information of NCLDs for each region. So yeah, we have a directory that's like pretty easy to use to reference for that stuff. And it's up to date as of like last week. So these are all people who are actively involved.
Great. All right. Any other questions? All right. Well, I can't thank you all enough. Thank you, Hamida. Thank you, Amelia. Thank you, Maya. And Luke, thank you so much for facilitating this discussion. I think it's been very, very helpful. And thank you all. And I'll connect with Luke to get you all the resources after this call.
Thank
All
you.
right.
Great presentation.
Great. Thank you so much. All right. See you all in a minute.
Thank you all.